itsmintsalad, and I saw Star Trek, the original series, the Galileo 7. It is directed by Robert Gist, written by Oliver Crawford, and if you haven't seen this episode, I will spoil it for you. This episode starts, and we're following the USS Enterprise. They're going to a planet, but along the way, they have to stop by this other planet because Kirk is being ordered to investigate. And plus, there's a Commodore on board, which is interesting. This Commodore seems very impatient. He's like, "Oh, I suck being on this planet. I suck being here. We gotta go to that planet that needs our drugs. We gotta go there." And I'm like, okay, I get it. You have a deadline. You gotta hurry. What's also interesting, as we go down to this planet, we're sending a bunch of people down. And what's fun is that now they are lost. Their shuttle is lost. They get crash land, and now we have like Spock and like a bunch of other people there, including McCoy. They're all there. They're all hanging out. And also there's a time limit because 2 days and some odd hours, the Commodore gives Kirk. And it's like, oh geez. Oh, there's a time here. There's time here. There's so much going on. I really hope that they could figure out this shuttle situation. So the shuttle is too heavy. There's some 500 pounds too heavy. How are we going to have all these people on board? And also live within, and go up to the Enterprise, and it's 500 pounds overweight, so you can get rid of like 3 people. That's 500 pounds there. 4 people, depends on how much they weigh. What's interesting is that there's also a bunch of these dudes. They're hairy dudes. They're very strong. They're very, I'd say archaic. They're very violent. They stab a guy, and what's funny is Spock is like lead here. I've always had the question, I wonder why Spock doesn't become the captain. Well, this episode answers my question for me, because instead of being like, oh, I'm sorry, this guy's dead, he's like, oh, this is a sphere. It's a spear. Oh, it's stone. Interesting. And like some of the guys are like, what are you doing? You are the coldest man I've ever encountered. And so Spock is all about logic. He's like, let's do the logical thing. We got to do the most logical thing. These creatures, I'm going to base it off of logic. Right, I'm going to base off of my decision off of logic. What's interesting, these creatures are not very logical. They're actually pretty emotional. So in the process of Spock being like, oh, let's just do logic, ha ha ha, 2 people end up dying. I'm like, Spock, this is why you don't lead. This is why you don't command. This is why you are the first officer. This is why you're not captain. It is because you have no heart, no heartiness whatsoever. And I feel like it is necessary for a captain to be able to empathize with the situation. I think it's a pretty important quality. You got to be able to lead people. You don't want people angry at you. Like, this guy is so angry at Spock because Spock won't let him have a funeral, even though it's like, oh, we don't have enough time, dude. It's illogical. But this guy's like, I want a funeral. Eventually, Spock's like, fine, you can have a funeral, but with all the people dying, with all the weight that they've taken off of the shuttle, they don't have that much fuel left, right? And also we have more increasing pressure from the Commodore to leave. It's like, let's just abandon them, right? So it takes pretty much 2 days for the shuttle, as Spock's in, plus a bunch of other people, to even like get off the ground. And they maintain an orbit. That's fun. But the Enterprise has to leave, and so they leave, and like, no, wait, you just left them there. Of course, I can see and feel the pain that Kirk is going through, because holy diggity dang, he's just left a bunch of people down there, including his friends like Spock and McCoy, dude. Like, whew, wow, okay. So this is a fun episode because I like Spock knows how much fuel he has. He only has like about 45 minutes of fuel. But hey, let's just put on the boosters. He has no logical reason to put on boosters whatsoever. But this attracts the attention of the Enterprise, and they go turn around. Where's the Commodore at this point? Don't know. At this point, I don't sense the Commodore anywhere. I feel like the Commodore is there just to be like, hey, there's a time limit. We have to have a reason to abandon these people on this planet. Like, that's really what the Commodore position is for me. Like, I don't really actually feel there's a good reason for the Commodore to be there other than to facilitate the need for drugs, facilitate drugs going from one planet to the next planet. Like, there's not really a clear reason why he's there necessarily. He's just there to establish a time crunch. But of course, they have the Enterprise has been properly flared. They get saved right at the last moment when they're about to break orbit, and then poof, they're back on the ship. What's fun is a nice little study because desperation is a human emotion, and Spock just showed it. He just showed the desperation, so he did whatever. He did the riskiest of risks, and it worked for him. He basically just used up all of their fuels just to get the attention of the Enterprise. I don't even know if he was doing that intentionally. Seemed like he was. He's big brain smart boy Spock over here. But he got the attention, and now he's back on board, and now we're going to the planet that we got to go to. Overall, I think this episode is a good look on Spock's leadership skills, which is, yes, logical, but not very emotional and human and very cold. And I can understand why people are like, oh, this sucks, man. You're not like appealing to our emotions at all, dude. I feel like Kirk's situation would be like, yeah, you can have a funeral, dude. You can have a funeral. Even though we only have 2 days, you can have a funeral. I feel like the morale would be improved with a little bit of emotionality. This is why Spock does not do captaining. He's instead the second to the captain. Very valuable position still, but just not like captain leadership worthy, you know? His logical decisions caused 2 people to die, and his illogical decision saved like the 5 other people that were there. So you gotta have some illogicalness there in life to survive. This is what this episode is telling me. Overall, I appreciate Kirk as a captain even more now, and I appreciate Spock's role as a first officer now. So I gotta give this episode, it's a solid 7.9 out of 10. If you like this review, watch another one. The platform really likes that. If you want a fast track movie review, you can do that for $20. Redeem is a patreon.com/ASEPresents. And if you'd like to help support the daily grindiness of all them daily movie reviews, go to this link tree. Find the way you can help support the daily grind, all them daily movie reviews, so you can go here. And until next time, Mint Salad Saw, I'll see you later to my salad croutons and big bits. Beam me up.